Now that we have a way for each human to securely cast a vote, the next question we need to ask is, what should be the rules of voting? Should everyone be allowed to vote? And what is considered a majority? I think the overarching conflict with voting is that we all have different beliefs, opinions, and potential solutions for various things in our society. The first critical issue is we're not presented information in a clear, unbiased way. We're receiving bad data, and that leads to skewed results. Our news systems have failed us. Democracy doesn't work without a well-informed populace. In fact, having an intelligent populace is an integral part of a healthy democracy. What we have today is a population that is largely uneducated because they were failed by the education system. This leads us to the tricky philosophical question, should everyone be allowed to vote? This is a topic that we need to tread carefully with because we know from the past that if there's a mechanism for suppressing some portion of the population from voting, that this can be used in extremely unethical ways. Not too long ago, the government required literacy tests to be allowed to vote, which was a system designed to deny African Americans their right to vote. We can't have a system whose barrier to vote segregates any one group in particular. At the same time, I think we can agree that if someone knows nothing about what they're voting on, then their vote is not actually a valuable addition to the system. Differing opinions are fine, but being uninformed is not. I think one fair requirement for voters is to confirm that they at least understand the basics about what they're voting on. We can implement a short questionnaire before casting your vote that simply verifies that you read and comprehended what's being voted on and what each option means. This leads us to the question of how these proposals are written. Today, our proposals are designed to be as confusing as possible. They rename things to make them sound good, like net neutrality, when they really mean something else. I think moving forward, it's important to keep proposals as simple and specific as possible. Not 900-page documents with legalese and hidden terms. Nobody's going to read a 900-page document, so how can we make smart decisions about what we're voting on if we're not collectively reading the contract? The next major issue to tackle is to figure out what we consider a fair majority. In order to do this, we must first look back at what types of voting systems exist, and then begin to narrow down our options. In the US, we have what's called first past the post, where people vote for the candidate of their choice, and the candidate who receives the most votes wins, even if they didn't receive a 51% majority. A two-round system is where a voter casts a single vote for their chosen candidate. If a 51% majority is not met, another round of voting occurs until a majority is found. Ranked voting is where you rank the options in order of preference. So instead of one vote, you will choose your first, second, and third option. Each of those choices are weighted, and the candidate with the most points wins. Approval voting is where you vote for as many people as you approve of, and the candidate with the most overall votes wins. There are also creative terms that can be applied to voting systems, like if voter participation does not exceed 80% of the population, the election is void and another one will be held. With all of these possibilities in mind, we can start to form the terms for our 2.0 voting system. One idea that sounds especially intriguing is instead of having votes occur at a specific date, we could have a rolling voting system. In this system, when a proposal gets 60% approval from the people, which is 180 million votes, then it will be passed into law. Everyone has a single vote for each proposal, and that vote can be changed at any time. It could take as little as one day to get a majority approval, or it could take years before enough people agree on that topic. It also means if people disagree with a passed law, or see it's not working for them, they're able to change their vote at any time. If enough people change their vote from yes to no, and the majority falls below 60%, the law is removed. This is an important feature of the system, because if there's one thing that's certain is that things change, ideas evolve, and the people living today are different than the ones 50 years ago. We need a system that is flexible and can be adjusted in real time as the population changes. Every 100 years, none of the same people exist on Earth. Why would we assume that the next generation will believe the same things that we do? We need a fluid system that can evolve or roll back at any point in time. The truth is, things rarely work as intended. We should build a system that takes this into consideration. If a proposal is implemented and the results don't match the expectations, then it should be easy to reset and test another solution. We need to experiment and iterate quickly if we want to build an ideal system. there's no way we can predict every small interaction that our rules will result in. This means equally important to passing new laws is the ability to admit when we were wrong and quickly try another solution using the new data we have as the next starting point. The last big question is who proposes these laws? I think the most general answer here is it would be the people who have a vision for a change in the world. If something is affecting people negatively, they will actively seek solutions. It would also be smart to include a financial incentive for people who create proposals that are passed. If you come up with an idea that improves how society operates, and you receive a majority vote, then you'll get $10 million. That's only 3 cents from each person. This way, anyone with a good idea can become someone who changes the world. They just have to understand what's wrong and have a solution to fix it that enough people agree with. While there's still a huge amount of work to be done to finalize an ideal government and voting system, this seems to be a good place to start. Whether you agree or disagree, please leave a comment with any ideas you have, the reasoning behind why something wouldn't work, or if there's a more elegant way to structure things. The goal is not to push any particular agenda, but create a discussion that helps lead us toward our shared goal of America 2.0.